Tonight's guest is JT Turner. JT, thank you so much for being here.
Sister Angela, I really appreciate you having me. Super excited, by the way.
Love Sister Angela.
It's my sister right there, you know?
You know, first tell us a little bit about you, and we'll get into your background later, but tell us about you.
Really quick, I'm a stand-up comedian / actor. I'm out of Los Angeles, California. Been doing comedy probably about 13, 14 years now. So the last couple of years I've been dabbling a little bit to acting. So I actually got some stuff premiering now, and so I've been real thankful for that to happen for me right now.
So how difficult is it, or I'm not going to say difficult, I'm going to say how challenging is it to go from stand-up comedian to an actor?
You know what? For me, right now, it's super cool. Just because the roles that I've been playing are kind of like roles that are very simple. You know what I mean? I'm just it's not in depth. You know what I mean? I'm not dying at a bridge and need to cry. So you know, the roles that I've gotten have been like kind of catered to my style because I'm like a comedic actor. So it's actually the transition isn't that bad. I mean, just being in front of a live audience though, you can feel that energy. But when you're on set, it's a lot of do you stop, cut, go again, all right, switch it. So it's a lot of that. But the transition it's been cool. You know what I mean? It's been amazing. I'm super excited. I love it. I want more. You know what I mean?
Well, speaking of more, you just had a film released early 2020, right?
Yeah. So it's actually a series. Yes, and it's on Amazon Prime, and it's called The Date. And I actually play a police officer or a detective. His name is Banks. So Detective Banks is who I play, and it's not as hardcore as you would think. You know, I play with the role a little bit, but yeah, I like it. I'm excited. I could carry a gun and a badge. I'm arresting people. I arrested the director the other day, you know, because he was out of line, so I had to take him in, you know. So
the early beginnings of JT Turner, and JT Turner from the comedian, businessman, now you're the actor.
Yes. Oh, that's a good question. Phenomenal, by the way. Well, I went to school for business administration, so I always had that in the background. So what I actually did was, for me, it's called show business, right? So I was killing the show part, but I was like, I'm missing out on the business part, meaning like for revenue. So what I did was I created a brand. So I started running my own comedy room as well. So it's called the Green Tree Comedy Club. So I was doing weekly shows there. We even transitioned to 3 days a week. So I was able to capitalize on that as well. And I was able to put on other comedians, so up and coming comics, but we had some really good established comics that came out as well. So I ran that as well. Now that was the difficult part. I mean, a lot of people see comedy and they're like, oh, you guys are just out there having fun. And I'm like, man, the behind the scenes sometimes, you know, can be kind of crucial, because now I finally seen it from a producer side, because the comics would call me, be like, JT, and I'm like, oh, here we go. I can't make it. And it's like, man, the show is like 30 minutes. Like, what do you mean you can't make it? So you would always have to try to get comics really, really fast. But I really like the business side because it kind of showed me, you know, I can be a little bit more empathetic towards other people's feelings, like I would want them to be with me as far as a comic and a producer. So, but it's actually helped me establish a lot of new connections, and I felt like I'm giving back to comedians, because I remember when I first got on, it was very hard to get stage time. You know, you would ask people for stage time, and it'd be, so I created my own format where I was actually getting stage time every night as well. You know what I mean? Even though I was running the whole show.
That one kid is still there, and that parent ain't picked him up yet. Oh, their attitude changed then, don't they? You know what? Where is your mama? And talking to the kid like he know where his mama's at. So Edgar, is your mom coming to pick you up today? And he 3, he just got there. He barely got there from the in-home program. He don't know nothing. You know how they rush them kids? They be 1.5 talking about, well, he was on the rollover program. He's got priority. We got to put him in. So he can't even speak. He's like, where is your mama? Mama? Yeah, where is your mama, Edgar? Mama? Yeah. Are you my mama? No, we looking for her.
first of all, you talked a little bit about helping out your fellow comedians.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about this community.
Yes.
Because it sounds like you all are supportive of each other. So talk a little bit about that.
You know what? Yes, we are supportive of each other. It gave me, and I felt like it was like I would have new comics come to me. And I was in this position as well. I remember as a new comic, I would go to someone like, hey man, can I get some time? We call it some time, means some stage time. And then they'll be like, yeah. Some of them would say yay, some would say no. So I was in a position where I told myself, if a new comic comes up to me and asks for stage time, I'm going to give it to him. But I'm going to give it to them in the correct way. So this is how I would do it. And I'm probably giving away the secret, but who cares? So they'll come up to me and be like, hey man, can I get stage time? I said, have you ever done comedy before? And they're like, no, but I love it. You know, you guys are funny. I want to be funny. I said, come back next week and tell me again. And then I'll wait for the next week. And if they will come. And they'll be like, hey man, can I do it? And I'm like, all right, not this time, but come next week, right? Now, the reason why I did that, to see how bad they really wanted it. Because what happens is people see it and they be like, oh, this is easy, like I can do it. But you don't understand the parts that follow it as well, you know what I mean? So they would come back and then they would be like, okay, JT, I'm here. And I'm like, you know what, man, I'm glad you made it. I said, yeah, I'll put you on. And they'd be like, all right, cool. So I would say, watch the show and then we'll talk. So they would watch the show. Now I would watch them. Now if they're there heckling or laughing or doing things inappropriate, we would have a conversation after. And they would be like, I would be like, listen. They were like, hey man, did you hear me? I was saying funny stuff. I'm like, yeah, I heard you, but this isn't the right time to do it. I said, you got to understand what goes into being a comedian. It's not just going up stage. I said, you have to respect fellow comedians as well. So you can't be in the audience yelling back and forth trying to be funny. And they'd be like, wow, okay, I didn't realize that. Of course you didn't. So then you need to learn. I said, look, I'll give you 3 minutes next week since your committee came a couple times. And I said, but you got to bring some people. And they'd be like, oh, you just want me to bring people? I said, no, it's a confidence thing. I mean, all the people that have probably told you need to be a comedian, then they need to come out and see you, so that way you can build confidence. You know what I mean? I don't want to build no one up for failure. I want everyone to succeed. You know, I like to be around successful people, and if I'm the forehead of someone being successful, I like that too. I want someone to become the next huge comic. That way they could be like, in the story, they could be like, you know what, this guy named JT, little bald-headed guy, you know, he put me on, and I'd be in there like, yeah, I did put him on. Like, that makes me feel well.
So you talked a lot about being, and you didn't call it this, but you are a mentor to new comics coming up.
Yes.
And you're walking them through the process.
Yes.
So who is your mentor and why?
Oh, so it's one of the people that helped me. All right, so in the Inland Empire, there's a guy named L.J. Brown, okay? And he's a comedian, and what he did for me was a godsend. He said, so I got this show, come with me, and I'll put you on. So we would go to different spots. He would take me to different nightclubs, different comedy clubs, and then he would tell them, hey, this is my man JT, put him on. So that's one of my guys that I actually forehand work with. And he kind of showed me a little direction in the comedy game, so I really appreciate it. So in my capacity, I try to give back to the new comics as much as possible.
Do you find that the way that you do comedy in the past is different today because of everything that's happening around us, and how have you adjusted?
Oh man, you know, since COVID, things have shut down a little bit. We've been doing Zooms, comedy on Zooms, which is tough. I actually did a comedy show in Orlando on the phone. On the phone. It was a radio station in Orlando. They reached out to me. They said, hey, can you make these people laugh? And on the phone, like, you get no reaction back. So it's like, yeah, you know, yeah. And it's like, nothing. All right, cool. So then you just got to keep going. So it was a little uncomfortable, but I see what the stage that we're in right now. But just me as anything, it's like development, right? Yes. So I've developed as a comic. And a lot of people, sometimes people see you, they be like, you know, because people think only comedians that are funny, or only people that are funny comedians are the ones that like on TV all the time, or things of that nature. But there's so many comics right now that are like 1 inch away from being the next big thing. So and being in the realm of, man, there's so many comics that are just so hilarious. They're like one step away. So I'm still in the development stage. Like, I'm still learning every day, even though I've been in it for so. I'm open to learn. I don't think I know everything. I'm still trying to learn so I can get that edge. Because the thing about the entertainment, it's you got to be ready.
Yes.
Even if you get no's, no, not yet. You can't. You got to be relentless, and you got to be ready. Because that one time somebody could call you, and bam, you got to be there. So.
And so, what do you mean by edge? For all of us who don't understand what edge means, what do you mean by edge?
So, edge, you mean like, okay, let me tail back a little bit. So you mean edge, like edgy comedy, or like?
They're on the edge of making it big.
Got you. All right, cool.
Yes, but haven't quite hit it yet.
Man, what it means is you know they're ready. You know what I mean? You know they're ready. Like they're in their senior year, and graduation is coming, and you could just see it to fruition. You could just see it coming, right? They're seasoned, and they just one snap away from someone saying the right person. Like, it's so funny. My family would come to the show. They're like, "Man, you funny, man. You so funny. You ready?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I wish you was a producer in Hollywood." Telling me that I'm ready, you know what I mean? Thank you, Mama. Appreciate you, Mama. Appreciate you, but I need this producer in Hollywood to have the same faith in me that you have. So it's yeah. But there's a lot of comics on there, and everybody's one step away. Like even when people don't believe in you, like they're like, or that guy's not funny, or that, you know. I felt like it doesn't matter what people think. It's what you think. It's how you present yourself, right? Because that when God puts you in a position, no one can falter that, no matter what. You know, you need people to tell you. Like, I needed people to tell me I'm not funny. Sometimes I needed people to be like, you had a bad set, or ooh, JT. I needed that, because you know what that made me do? It made me work harder. You know, you're very educated. You're a doctor, right? So every now and then your professor, they do this on purpose. They'll look at your paper and be like, come on over here. Now, you know this paper right here, you could have, and they challenge you on that. In your mind, you're like, but wait a minute, I was up 9 days in a row, and I did this paper, but they challenge you to be better. If everything someone saw from you and were like, oh, that's good, oh, that's perfect, you would lose your edge. You know, great. It depends if you want to be in the game, if you want to be good, or do you want to be great. There is levels to this business. You can make money being in the game. You can make money being good. But if you want to have a legacy, you want to be great, you got to put the extra work in, you know, so, yeah.
JT, there's so much more we're going to hear from you. So thank you again for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate this format. I appreciate your show. And you're amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you. That's why I'm having you here. And thank you for joining us on Everybody with Angela Williamson. Viewers like you make this show possible. Stay in touch with us on social media. Good night and stay well. Thank you.